Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you for joining me today. Do you know what day it is? It is the last day of November. So full swing Christmas mode we are about to be in. So to finish off our fall and Halloween and Thanksgiving, we are finishing up the pumpkin sitting pattern. So all I've got to do is the white borders around it and in between the rows. And guys, tonight at 3 p.m. or this evening at 3 p.m. Central Time, we will be destashing I will be destashing some items out of my sewing room. I'm going to just get started here. My instructions tell me to put these together. I didn't do as many as they told me to do because I can math and their math ain't mathing for me. Because maybe my fabric is a little bit longer than theirs. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be on the safe side, and I did one extra. So we are just going to get these done for this. It is Saturday when I am sewing these because this evening there will be a destash going on right here on my channel at 3 p.m. I will be in the chat with you guys. So you will be able to claim items, ask questions about items. You probably see my well, not this, not this right here, but this stuff here, and then I have another box over here now. I've had to move things around in here. But I have quite a few items that are going up in a destash. So if you are interested, come on back at 3 o'clock. It is Saturday when I'm recording this. I did not get much of anything done today that I wanted to. I was taking a rest because I'm exhausted right now, guys. I had an order come in this morning, and I haven't even been able to get it done, but it will be done before the weekend is over. I just needed a little rest from the Thanksgiving festivities that we had with friends and family and soon-to-be families, and we just had a lot going on. So I hope y'all survived it all really well. Also, it's always a joy to get together with family. Okay, friends, I am going to do what I'm going to do. This has the selvage on it. I'm just taking my scissors and cutting it down to that 1/4 inch. It would probably be a lot easier with my rotary cutter. I know it would. So that one I know is at a 1/4 inch. But I'm going to trim these seams down to a 1/4 inch, and then we will get right back together. Now that I have them all sewn together, trimmed and pressed out, I now need to trim them down to a particular size. And once I do that, I will cut them down again. So this one comes right at the seam here. So I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to take that seam right on out. I knew I probably shouldn't have had to do that, just to be on the safe side. So what I'm doing is I'm getting 6 strips that size. Once we get this done, we will have our pumpkin sitting completed. And it will be in the destash tonight. So I will show y'all the pumpkin sitting. Yep. This one is in there too. So I probably shouldn't have sewn all of these. But, you know, I would rather be safe than sorry on this. So at least it's working out this way. We'll take it. I don't mind taking a seam out. But this will be one more quilt top down. At the end of the year, I will do kind of like a trunk show showing all the quilt tops that I've completed and all the quilts I actually completed because those will be different since I'm selling quilt tops. Now this one should be different because, well, doggone, that's exactly on too. So y'all have to keep your eye open for that. That will be coming out the end of the year. Some of the things will probably just be photos that I'm showing you because I have given several quilts away. I've actually traded a quilt, and then in the D stash I will have some more quilts. But we are now winding the year down. Guys, tomorrow starts our Vlogmas. If you don't know what Vlogmas is, that's where creators create a video for every single day of the month of December. Technically, I do one almost every day of the year anyway. I could probably count on one hand the number of days that I did not have a video out this year. And luckily, we had the replay, so technically, I didn't go without a video Saturday. It's just not one that I created myself, even though I was involved in it. If you use Kona, you do not have to cut the extra strips out. You can just cut 6 out, because I wasted a whole strip. I didn't need that extra strip. So let me make sure I have the 6. Yeah, I have the 6 here. So what we are going to do is take the 6 strips, trying to get my area cleaned up just a little bit here because you guys know how easy it is to leave a mess if you don't kind of clean and straighten as you go. Now I am going to open my pattern up just to make sure that I'm doing this right. I don't guess it really matters which one I start with. The orange top is the very first panel. So we're going to take the orange top, lay those out of the way. We're going to take this orange top and get one of these strips. I'm going to flatten that edge out. And we're going to take this strip and put it on the right side. Technically, that's going to be the inside of the quilt. I am going to go ahead and pin this at the top and pin it at the bottom. I did leave the selvage on one end of this, so that is coming out a little bit further on the end. But we're going to just get into this and start sewing our center. I get center sashings on just to even up our quilt here. We're going to do this at 1/4 of an inch. And friends, if you have been sewing along with me, I hope you have enjoyed this. This will be our last video on this. I had thought about ending it at the end of October, but I just kept it going because why not? Y'all were here for all the other, why not? Now, once I get all of these sewn on, I will press them. They do have a direction to be pressed, or there shows a direction. I don't know why it really matters, because we're not nesting into anything. Now, I do know when I go to attach the second panel that I am going to have to try to make sure that even though it's not nesting, that it is even, you know, it's not going together. I need to make sure that like my top pumpkins into the same place. I think a lot of people do have trouble with that when they are doing sashing, but for me it's pretty easy when I do sashing to make sure that happens. And it's just because when I do sashing, I go ahead and I press everything out, making sure that's not rolling up under there. That makes sure that seam continues to go the correct direction. I do go ahead and press my sashing before I put that next panel on. So I can lay the panel down completely flat on the sashing and the other panel, so we know that everything is good. And I'm not real sure why I'm hearing clacking, and I did oil my machine really good today. I did change out my needle, so it just may be me. It may not even be a noise. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go in and press this open like this, and then I'll lay the other panel on top. Okay, now that we have this first panel completed here, we will take the second panel, which is the black top panel with the pumpkins. Now the cat is the last panel that we will add on. So what I am doing here, I'm going to go ahead and pin this top on right here. I could have just put the sashing on this other piece, but I'm not doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and pin, ouch, I'm pinning myself. I'm going to go ahead and pin this together. And what I will do, I've got a kitty cat over here. Y'all may be able to see him. What, Oscar? He's poking his head up here, wanting me to pet him. But once I get this pinned, I will look at it and make sure that my pumpkins are beginning and ending at the same place. I don't think we're going to have a big problem with that not being the case, but I want to alleviate it because that is something that your eye will catch, and I don't want your eye to be drawn to something like that. I want it to be drawn to how cute the fabric is, you know, all the cuteness. So we know the end is going to be correct, and we know the beginning is going to be correct, but somewhere in between, it may not be so how I check to make sure everything is laying out correctly, I just lay it out, and I see that my seam for the end of this pumpkin is even with the seam of that pumpkin. And I just check the whole panel that way. And if it's not exactly, that's okay, because you got to think it is laid here on here and it looks great. So you probably hear all these pins, and I'm trying to worry about my kitty cat over here so I don't roll over his tail or his foot. I've got to get this in my lap, which means I'm highly likely to get pinned or poked by a pin. Now I did want to make some pillowcases for the two Halloween quilt. The Love Cats is going to also be in the D-stash, just the quilt. I wanted to make pillowcases for these, but I just did not. I haven't had the moment. We've had a lot of things going on. Just like everybody else, you know, family, friends, holidays, work, trying to get ready for the end of the year, at work, in the house. And I've been trying, I can't remember where I heard this. It might have been a podcast that I was listening to that somebody was talking about, you know, when your house, and your belongings. And I heard, don't leave your mess for your children to have to clean up when you're gone, because they're not going to appreciate things the way you do. Now, my oldest daughter, she has a love for vintage glass just like I do. So she'll probably get all of my vintage glass. My youngest daughter, she likes my quilts. So she'll, now, I mean, not that I have a lot of stuff for people to get. I think this needle must be bent or something, but I haven't hit anything with it. It's a brand new needle. It just is clicking, and I can feel it. But I did clean my machine. See, that is making that sound just like it would make had I hit a pin with it, but I haven't hit a pin. It's a brand new needle. So after I get this sashing, I may change this needle out just to be on the safe side. I don't know where my needles would be. I have one that's already open, and this may be it. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to go on and pull it out because I know I'm going to need it, because there's nothing more worrisome than your machine making that clicking sound. It's very possible that needle could have been bent already. I mean, I guess it happens. Even though it's in that hard plastic case, it can happen. I don't know why I didn't try to catch some Black Friday sales and see if I couldn't get some needles cheaper. But, you know, I guess my needles aren't, I mean, I don't count needles as an expense, which I know it is an expense, but probably because needles are easy to come by a lot of times. Now, I use the Microtex 8012s, and sometimes those are hard to find. But that's just the needle that I have found that I like the best. Does my machine manual say use that needle? No, it does not. I just use it because it's the easiest one. I mean, I've not had as much trouble out of the Microtex. So what I'm going to do, I'm changing out my needle. I'm dropping that off. Now, my needle, I normally can just untwist it here. So I changed it yesterday, and I'm about to change it again. I just use an old pill bottle to put my used needles in. Got me another needle here. And this is a Microtex 8012. I like to have a good sharp needle when I sew. Now, I know before my machine will thread that needle, it has to have a foot on it. And I go on and put my dual control on it, because if I don't, I will forget. And my fabric will be oops, it dropped the thread. And my fabric will be running all over the place. There we go. So I'm going to press again. And then we will do our third panel. And now we have that second panel on. I want to show you what I was talking about. The lines where the pumpkins are. You can see where the indentions are. Well, on that top orange one, it don't look so great. But they do match up. And the reason it doesn't look so great is because the orange has white in it. But they do come very close. I mean, they're not exact, but they do come very close. They're, you know, we're not coming together inches apart. So now we need to get our next sashing strip, and I left the selvage on this, so I'm going to let that go to the bottom end. We are going to just start pinning at this top right here and then work our way down. And once again, you know, I'm doing this the same exact way. I just pin every, 6 inches maybe. I pin close enough to keep it together so I'm not losing my edging, so my edges are even. And about 6 inches is a good length to do that. If you go much longer than 6 inches on this, then your edges may come apart, and we don't want that to happen. I'm pretty much, what I'm doing is almost at the beginning of a pumpkin and then the end of a pumpkin is where I'm pinning. So let's get this turned around so we can get to sewing it. I'm just double checking my edging here to make sure it's all good. I kind of lay my whole arm up there to make sure nothing is moving. And we're staying on that 1/4 inch line. We're making decent work of getting this done. So now what I have to do is I have to press this as well, and I will be right back with you. We are going to continue just pinning and pressing until we are done here. We will add another sashing on both sides and one on the top. I think we do the 2 in the center, and then we do the 2 on the outside, and then we do one across the top and one across the bottom. So I will add one before that first panel because I did not put one on there yet. Now that we are pinned, we're going to just get this under the needle once again and get this 3rd row or column or panel, whatever we're going to call it this time. We're going to go on and get this on. And when we get one end that hangs out a little bit further like this is when I have trouble because mine wants to pull to the side. And I'm trying to keep guiding it the way it should, but it goes wherever the weight is. And that's why I try to keep the weight right here with my hand. And I definitely try to keep it from hanging below me off the table, because that seems to be a recipe for disaster if it does, because that causes it to pull up here at the top. It doesn't slide as easy all the way because I have something grabbing it on the side here. Friends, I had as I said, today is Saturday. I had an order come in this morning when I thought I was going to get to just kind of lay around and rest. Well, I did rest a little bit, but I have got to get that order done. So I'm going to go in and press this out so we can get our side sashings and our top and bottom. Okay, now we have our 3 panels together. So now what we need to do is put our sides on and then our top and bottom. So this is side sashing number 1 that we're working on right now. And guys, with all the sewing and the cutting and all that, we are at an hour right now, which I know you've not seen an hour because I've done a lot of pressing here. But we are hoping that we can get this done in the next 5-10 minutes, hopefully. I know we've got to put on top and bottom border too, or sashing as well. I'm not going to press these. I may press the top and bottom of it where the next sashing. Oh, and now my bobbin runs out. Nothing like your bobbin going out when you're running out of recording time. So I just stopped my camera and restarted it. And what that does, that means I just edit the first part of the video and then I edit the second part of the video and then put the two of them together. And YouTube Create app doesn't freak out over it. So it will accept it like that if I edit and export it. And then once I've exported both of them, import them back together. I know that's a lot of behind the scene talk, isn't it? That y'all really don't probably care about. But unfortunately, as a creator, that's one of the things that we have to think about and worry about if we're using their app to do our editing and stuff on. So we can't just sit down and sew. It's not that easy. Sometimes I do just sit down and sew, and I'm just like, well, it is what it is, and if it won't upload, y'all just don't see a video. But guys, I hope y'all are as excited about December as I am. I'm so excited to see what all the creators put out there for Vlogmas, because it is always very fun to see all of the things. I'm excited to see. I haven't seen anything about it. I don't know if it's happening. But Sean, the guy who sews, every year he does something, I think, for Christmas Eve night or Christmas night, something like that, where he has a lot of creators send him a little snippet video of something they've created throughout the year. I love watching that. For the past couple years, I've been a part of that. I'm sure Sean, gets different talent each year. But guys, it's so much fun to watch that video because he has so many people on there that just the creativity alone is
super. I mean, it is just phenomenal. Okay, so second side, we're getting this sashing on. I would rather call it a border because technically that's what it is. These are borders. The in-between is sashings. We're going to stop, pull that pin, and readjust our fabric here. And guys, today, Saturday, November 29th, I do not know how I forgot this, but it is my dad and my stepmom's 39th wedding anniversary. How about that? How about that? So when y'all see it, it's going to be their 39 in one day. Alrighty, so that is both of our sides. I'm going to press at the top, so I shouldn't have to press at the top. It should. Now I'm going to press. So one moment, and now we are putting the, is it top? The top border on. And we shouldn't be too long getting these done. We are just about finished with this. We just have to add the bottom border on and we will be done, guys. Our sitting pumpkin will be 100% done. Now, if you would like this quilt top, so you can quilt it however you'd like, make sure to come back later this evening at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it will be included in the D-stash that I am having. I am having to decide what I want to keep and what is okay to not keep. And I have pulled out a quilt for each of my grandbabies. I've pulled out quilts that are gifts. Also, but once I have those all completed and pulled out, I will be destashing the rest of my quilts. Now, I will keep some of the larger quilts that I have for bed quilts. Just because that's what I made them for, and I'm not going to get rid of something I made to put on my bed or one of my spare beds. So now let's get to the other side here. I'm going to press these open so I can put the border on it. And friends, we are now on our last border here to complete our pumpkin sitting. Okay, friends, we are now done with the pumpkin sitting. So let's see what it looks like. Find the top here. Look at that. Is that not the cutest little thing? So, friends, thank you for joining me. We have now finished this sampler Sunday. It's proven that sometimes a sampler can take a little while to get done. So, friends, give me a thumbs up before you head out. Don't forget to check us out at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, right here this afternoon for the D-stash. I have lots and lots of things coming out that I am getting out of my sewing room. Everything that I'm getting rid of is sewing related: fabric, notions, patterns, quilt tops, quilts. Yeah, it's all sewing related, every bit of it. So once again, if you have not yet subscribed, please do. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, guys.